This is Cinnamon Roll, a 1-pound combat robot built to tear its opponents to pieces. Over the past year and a half, I've been making constant upgrades on Cinnamon Roll, and it's time to put the latest round of changes to a test at a competition. This one hosted by the Mixer Community Makerspace in North Carolina. To quickly cover the upgrades, I focused on fixing the two big issues that I had discovered during Cinnamon Roll's last event. First, I had a lot of problems getting the weapon to stay spun up. This was largely because the weapon was too close to the ground, so if Cinnamon Roll wasn't perfectly level, the blade would hit the ground and then slow down. To fix this, I raised the blade up by a few millimeters and changed the shape of the feet to make Cinnamon Roll slightly more stable. This event was also going to be my first competition where the arena had a metal floor, so I was hopeful that if the blade was going to hit the ground, this time it would just glance off instead of biting into it like it did on the wood floors. The second major change I made was upgrading the receiver to a more reliable one. To really make sure that it wouldn't fail, I also potted the receiver in epoxy to hold all the fragile components in place. I also made a couple more changes, like altering the shape of the body a little and adding connectors to my wiring to make things easier to repair, but those were relatively minor things by comparison. With these upgrades ready, it was time for the competition. Like most robot combat events, this one would be a double elimination tournament, so one loss puts you in the loser's bracket, and a second one means you're done for the day. My first match was against Aperture, a hammer saw robot. I was pretty worried about this fight because the changes I had made to Cinnamon Roll's body meant that the old top plates no longer quite fit. I had ordered some new carbon fiber ones, but they didn't show up in time, so I was forced to 3D print some PLA Plus ones instead. They wouldn't be as stiff or offer as much protection, so one good hit could mean a battery fire and an early end to my day. My plan was to try and keep my weapon spinning when I got pinned, and hope to damage the small weapon motor or arm before Aperture could line up and deliver a fatal blow.
3, 2, 1, battle! Alright, this is Cinnamon Roll across the arena. It's got those googly eyes, folks. Hopefully you can hang on to them for the entire match. Oh no, looks like we lost some pieces there from Aperture. Oh, there are sparks flying and plastic flying across the ring there. Oh man, y'all are scratching that beautiful white floor, and that's what we're waiting for! Right, Cinnamon Roll is bouncing on top of Aperture. Aperture is swinging back and forth, trying to make it keep Cinnamon Roll, just rolling over top of it. We're still moving, folks. We're still moving. Cinnamon Roll's picking against the wall. Apertures. We got 1 minute going, folks. Oh, more plastic flying. Cinnamon Roll's googly eyes just taunting Aperture as it moves into position, trying to get at least a little bit of damage on its competitor. We have 30 seconds, folks. 30 seconds. Oh, looks like something's going on with Cinnamon Roll there. I don't know if something's caught up in the blade. It looks like a piece of Aperture is blocked up as a weapon. He's destroyed him so much that he's disabled to tap out.
Just surviving the first fight of the day would have been enough of a huge relief already, but Cinnamon Roll was given the win because Aperture's driver tapped out early. Just like I had hoped, during the fight, Cinnamon Roll managed to get Aperture's weapon motor wires, which meant that they really couldn't do any more damage. In the last couple of seconds, Cinnamon Roll's weapon stopped because one of Aperture's forks got sucked into the blade and jammed it up. I probably should have asked for an unstick to remove the debris, but my opponent tapped out first, so the fight was already over at that point. Since Cinnamon Roll was otherwise completely fine, I just charged the battery and was ready for my next fight against Banana Blitz, an agile vertical spinner with a disc that could do some serious damage to the thin armor of Cinnamon Roll if I wasn't careful. At this point in the fight, Banana Blitz used their unstick, so the fight was paused while they reset.
Battle. In the forward neutral corner. Just about 15 seconds left. Please go up, turn it, come in, 10 seconds. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, and time.
With the damage that Cinnamon Roll did to the wheels and body of Banana Blitz, it won the judge's decision, but it was in rough shape. Before the next match, I replaced the damaged 3D printed parts on Cinnamon Roll, giving most of them to the Banana Blitz team as a trophy. Thankfully, all of the electronics were okay, with only the weapon power wire getting a small nick in the silicone insulation. If that hit had been even a little deeper, the match probably would have gone very differently, so I got lucky. My next match was against Frostbyte, a robot that appeared to be a slightly modified Viper lifter kit. While it looked like some of the materials had been upgraded, I still had a slight advantage knowing about what some of the weaknesses of this kit were. My goal going in was to hit either the sides of the small wedge in front or the sharp corners of the front of the body, and hopefully tear them off the robot. Fully repaired and with a clear goal in mind, Cinnamon Roll was ready.
2, 1, rumble! Whoa! Immediately, pieces go flying. I can't tell from who, but Cinnamon Roll gets both their eyes still, so it's a good chance. Oh, sparks and plastic flying everywhere, folks.
This fight ended pretty quickly because Cinnamon Roll did exactly what I was hoping it would do, tearing the front of Frostbyte off and exposing their battery. At this event, an exposed battery meant an immediate end to the fight, so Cinnamon Roll walked away with the win and no damage to repair. The next match for Cinnamon Roll was going to be Sparkplug, another horizontal spinner. Sparkplug's armor was made from a very thick UHMW plastic, so my goal was to aim for their power switch on the backside of the robot.
2, 1, and rumble! Spark was loud. Oh, looks like Spark was lost the wheel, but it's still moving. Oh, wow, Spark is tossing Cinnamon Roll. Oh.
While Cinnamon Roll failed to get Sparkplug's power switch, what actually did happen was even luckier. When Cinnamon Roll was a little out of control, the momentum carried it over the top of Sparkplug and pulled a wheel off. Not long after, Sparkplug's weapon ate its own wires, and the driver tapped out, giving Cinnamon Roll one more win for the day. With that, Cinnamon Roll advanced to the grand finals from the winner's bracket. Already, this was the best performance I had had at an event, but Cinnamon Roll still had one more fight to go. My opponent for the final, fighting their way all the way back from the loser's bracket where Cinnamon Roll had sent them earlier in the day, was Banana Blitz. Since that earlier fight against Banana Blitz had been the toughest one Cinnamon Roll had had all day, I knew this rematch wasn't going to be a walk in the park.
3, 2, 1, and rumble! Oh, pieces are already flying, folks. Cinnamon Roll already taking its first bite. Looks like the Blitz might get all of the break and none of the exit to this one goes. Slamming against the wall.
While this one went all the way to the judges just like the last fight, the damage Cinnamon Roll did at the end by taking the wheels off was enough to secure a victory and first place. In the first half of the fight, Cinnamon Roll was definitely on the losing end of a lot of the engagements. This was because the strategy I went into this fight with was to try and keep the weapon spinning as much as possible, prioritizing it even over driving. Halfway through the match, I could tell this wasn't working, so I went back to what I had been doing all day before that. This immediately turned the tide and put me back in control, so I should have definitely just been doing that the whole time. At the end of the day though, Cinnamon Roll still pulled out the win, earning its first trophy from a public event and its first place trophy. I'm proud of this because it's the result of over a year of progress and evolution finally paying off. There isn't a lot I would change right away, but I still have some ideas for improvements for Cinnamon Roll, and I want to get a lot more testing in because my driving is currently the weakest link. So I'm planning to run it at another event soon, even if I don't quite know when yet. If you want to follow along with Cinnamon Roll's journey and see what it does next, be sure to subscribe for more.